Yeah, they put their foot on our necks, but we let them, so what you expect? When the last time you picked up a book? When the last time you wrote your own check? Yeah, we all up on IG and Netflix, and the devil, he got you on chill. He's scrolling and trolling your life, you can't see he destroying, cause he got you still. It's your vision that he wanna steal, and your mission that he wanna kill. No condemning, I'm keeping it real. It's conviction I want you to feel. And I'm praying today that we wake up, and the mess that we made we can make up. It's because of a skin that they hate us, don't know what it's gonna take to shake us. Listen. And I'm not pacing, I'm just patient. They thought that I was moving slow, they didn't know I was waiting. Yeah, it's my season, it's my reason. I talk with God every day, I'm not into people pleasing. And forever I'm for God, and I just want you to know without him, life is hard. So get your heart right, get your house in order.
Hi, I'm Charcy Curtis. This is the I'm For God Movement podcast. Some of you may know me as Sister Diva out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is where I allow people, everyday people, to tell their testimony. Today I have a special guest with me. They was on here before, a good friend of mine, Kelvis. I brought him back, and as y'all know, I had a guest earlier, so this is guest number 2. But thank you so much for letting me, fit me in your busy schedule.
Oh man, no, thank God for letting me fit in your busy schedule.
And listen, you got a second book coming out for us.
Yeah, it's got another book coming out.
Listen, so you got to tell us about what's going on and what's this book. And for those that's trying to get into podcasts, you got to go get the first book.
Right.
But let the people know who you are and what you got going on, please, sir.
I'm Kelvis Podcast, and also the co-owner of Real Reckless. That my girl right here, C Money, Kelvis was on last year. So this new book really is. So we did a pivot at the beginning of this year. So when I first started out in podcast for the last probably 3 years or so, I've been talking about a lot of relationships on my podcast. And one thing that we realized from marketing and just looking at and the analytics, my producer he had a podcast and he was successful because he had his girlfriend on there. Me, when I was talking about relationships, I was talking about, my past experience and just me traveling, talking to women about relationship, even going by your shop and just surveying people and bringing different topics up. So we found that I was at a plateau, I was at a kind of flatline state. And so what we did was we said, hey, listen, we want to put you in the role of a host. Just bring people on the podcast and just let them tell their stories. So really, this book, the podcast Truth, the stories from the studio, is really collaborations of over the last 3 years and really this year of people testimony from people fighting back from cancer, divorces, starting their business out and all the trials and tribulation, entrepreneurship, starting out failing but yet kept going, trusting in God, knowing God was going to bring them through. So this book is really a testimony to that. And then I share a lot of my transparency about my life, what I'm saying, in a way that's never really been talked about in the format of a book. So this book really is, it's a book that's it's positive because it takes people from when they're at their lowest point and they faith and they kept working and they reached a level of success for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what the book is about. And
when will it get?
We plan to have it out next month. Definitely next month. It'll be you can get it from me. I'm gonna have a platform where you go straight from me where I will autograph it and send it to you, or you can be able to get it from Walmart, Target.
All over. Big money. Everywhere.
You can get it on audio. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be in all the major stores.
Congratulations again. So I know you have a podcast. Can you please tell people how to get in contact with you and what's the name of your podcast and all that good stuff?
So the Kelvis Podcast. So you can get hold of me. My email is kelvis.kt@gmail.com. And you can also reach me at 984-386-6489. This is my cell phone number. And most of the time, I'll kind of forward those to my team. They kind of do the scheduling for me. I have a whole team of people to help me. And so that's really been a blessing too, is having going out. We kind of hired some people to kind of help me manage things because I work every day, like a lot of other people. And so it kind of, helps me, especially in the transformation of being a host, write the questions. So they do the background check on the person. First of all, to make sure you suit it for our brand. And then they come up with a list of questions for me to really to pull the story out of people because you got to have a niche. You got to have ability to relate to people, understand people, and to really bring the story out in them. You know what I'm saying? Because people will just give you the surface, but as a host, my job is to go down and get that deep story out of you, to bring that.
They got to trust you.
Yeah, they got to trust you to bring that really out of you, share some vulnerable points in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because what I learned is that really helps a lot of people when they can see that where God have and you talk about on your show, you bring people on here and you do it just as well as anybody I know, and let people tell they truth on your story, how God took them from where they was at to this right here.
Exactly.
And so I've learned to talk to people and just through questions and then being able just to relate to people, you know what I'm saying, and talk to them and have that connection, that vibe between them, you know what I'm saying? Just like when we first met, we clicked, you know what I'm saying? It was a vibe between us. It was a chemistry, more or less a chemistry between us, and we've been tight ever since then. So that's what I try to do. I try to build a chemistry, a bond with the people that I have on my podcast. And to be honest, I've had more women on my podcast than men. And so it's really been great. It's been a lot of great stories, a lot of people testimonies and their story, how they got what. So it's just been this year, 2024 has been a great year for us. And we've really grown. We ventured out into some other avenues, book writing, we got into the fashion show. We had Miss Felicia Amazon on my show, and she actually invited me up a couple months ago to a fashion show up in Durham, and she has her own fashion line or whatever, and called House of Fashion. And now through her we got a connection to somebody. I'm not gonna say his name for obvious reason right now, but you'll see it in the next probably 30 days. We're gonna see some new things with somebody that Fayetteville is very well known, and it's from Fayetteville, and just a collaboration of connection and networking, because I've learned you got to build a network with people, so because through them you can meet other people, and really through God blessing you with these people in your life, elevate you to another level. So I'm just thankful really to God for just the many blessings that this year and throughout the years He's blessed me with, and it's we just keep elevating, and we keep we jumping into some other ventures. We're ready to have something come online 2026. Me and my partner RJ. Something big for Fayetteville. It's coming soon. That I'm thankful that they thought enough of me to bring me on board with that. And so we got some other projects definitely for Fayetteville that's going to bring the light spotlight to Fayetteville in the future. And
for those that this is one of the founders for Real Reckless, and when could we be expecting?
So real soon. We're gonna have you back up there on the stage again, because we always love your energy and what you bring to the table. So we're working on something now. Hopefully in October we can have something planned for the city of Fayetteville, back with Real Reckless, because a lot of people have asked me about it, and I know some people asked you about it. People have asked RJ about it as well. So we're working on it now. We're definitely working on it now.
And what would you say is different from the first time you did your podcast to now what you're doing? Because you switched it up a little bit.
So I think this time we'll go with Real Reckless. This last time we're talking about Real Reckless. This time I think we're going to bring on people that as adversity, and we're not just going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about your story. You know what I'm saying? How do you become one of the top hairdressers in Fayetteville? What's been some of the stumbling blocks for someone in the audience that want to know, they're thinking about, I'm going to go to College Tower School. What are some of the steps, and being our business owners in that field? Because I know you have, and I witnessed some of your trials and tribulations since I know you, and it ain't all glamour. You know what I'm saying? So somebody that's thinking about getting into business, just in the hair business, they need to know, with God, things can work in your favor, but there's some trials and tribulations that may come along with this thing. But I still encourage you to follow what God's giving you to do. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about just a multitude of different topics, so people can have, and the audience can have a sense of just not only relationships, because relationships
it's good information.
It's good information.
You gotta remember, so many people need help with that.
Yeah, but
you'll be surprised.
It is.
And different opinions are really good.
Yeah, it's not knocking relationships, but I found that there's so many people talking about relationships.
Okay, but they still don't say the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You can get a room full of people, and I guarantee everybody gonna say something different. You rarely find somebody say the same thing.
Different experiences, different trials.
So, and you'll be surprised at how many people it helps. Because with regulars, I had people like, "Oh my God, I loved y'all." Oh my God, I thought I was on a person for that way, and I was wrong. So, y'all was wrong there, y'all. And look, God, listen.
With the 5 carats. Hey, listen, y'all. The whole time she had him down with that rain, with that rain. Hey, she was like, "This is the camera." Hey, she was shot. It was so bright. We had to dim the lights. No, we're still going to talk about relationship, but I think also people would, have the opportunity to ask anybody that's on the panel, especially from RJ from production, his production business, podcast, and all the things he done, and just a range of questions.
Yeah.
We're never going to take relationship out, but I just want people to have the opportunity to be able to ask a multitude of questions.
Yeah, I get it.
And really, this time we're going to do it in a different venue where people can feel more relaxed and they want to have a glass of spirit with them.
Right. Ain't no wrong with that.
You know what I'm saying? So we definitely going to put it in a different place. It's going to be a vibe. It's going to be a vibe. And then with Kelvis Podcast, we're going to continue on this role that I'm playing now as the host of Kelvis Podcast because I own it, and continue to bring on great people to tell their story. So because at the end of the day, I look at it as a mission of God. If somebody could come on my podcast and change one person's life,
right.
They may be going through this similar situation as somebody on my podcast, and they can see that God brought them through.
Exactly.
That's end of the day. It ain't about money. It ain't about nothing. It's about someone believing in God and trusting God to take them to the next level, and bring them through a situation that they're going through. Right.
Because we're overcome by testimonies, and we got to get to a point to know that if God did it for them, what you think He'll do for you?
Right.
And then we got to stop getting to the point saying, "Well, I don't want to tell nobody." I've been there myself.
Right.
But no, tell somebody because you don't know that person is somebody that's looking for you to be able to relate to you.
Right.
And they be like, "Oh my God, I never knew you went through that." And now you done encourage them, and they go forward versus them standing in the corner. So be like, "I'm not gonna say nothing because nobody never went through what I went through." Not knowing you looking at a person that went through that and some.
Right.
And I'm sitting here to tell you that if He did it for me, what you think He'll do for me?
Hey, I heard a preacher say a couple of weeks ago, if God bring you to the storm, bring you the storm to you, He'll bring you through the storm.
Oh yeah, facts.
And I think people, we in a unique situation with our own individual podcast and platform. A lot of people look at the camera, look at you on YouTube or Facebook Reel or whatever, and they're like, man, they look good, but they don't know
the background,
the story, the story from the studio. They don't know. That's why I wrote this book. Because let me tell you something. There's been a lot of we done been through some evolution changes. You know what I'm saying? From bringing people on our podcast that was, let me say, less than honorable. That we didn't. That's when we started really doing background check. They had a great story, but couldn't find out the police at any time could have pulled up what we were doing and arrested them. Yeah. And so, and then just in the financial part of it, you know what I'm saying? Most podcasts our size are self-financed, you know what I'm saying? And so, it's some money to this. And I tell people, those likes that your friends and our friends hit, that need to translate to cash.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to like or to show some love, but it's another thing to support whatever you got going on, and to go to your YouTube channel and watch those videos through the whole segment because you get paid off for those. You know what I'm saying, and to tell other people about it. So there's a lot that goes on behind the studio, and there's a lot of frustration, but you got to stay prayed up. You got to know that God and ordained you to do what you're doing, and He's going to keep on blessing you no matter what man try to stand in the way, because there's a lot of stumbling blocks being thrown in your way and my way too. And so it's a lot behind that studio. And I know your producer can contest that as well.
Listen, what I'm saying? I know my man. I thank God all the time for Vic. And listen, I was like, look, I'm only gonna do one season, I'm out of here, and not knowing God had another plan. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, this is not nothing that I was gonna do. This is God's plan. You know what I'm saying? And His plan is always better than our plan. And then now I look back and I look how the beginning, how and I remember they used to be like, you gonna take notes? And I'm like, no, man, this is me and God. And to this day they be like, okay, now I get it. But like I tell people all the time, you have to do it because you love it. That's you know what I'm saying? So if you do something because you love it, it'll work out. And definitely have God first. Definitely have God first. Just don't be full of yourself, because I promise you that will have an expiration date. Because when you'll run out of so much material, but when you put God and you actually allow people to express what they've been through and how they went through it, and still going through it, and how God brought them out of it, and et cetera, et cetera. And some people, they just need to hear somebody say it's okay, or how was your day today? You know what I'm saying? It's the little stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we come in at, just to ask them questions to make them feel comfortable, like somebody cares. Because some people don't get that. And
something I think that I think you probably already thought about it. I had how much I can't think of that. He's a pastor over at New Vine. Pastor Mike Neal, I think his name Pastor Mike Neal. But anyway, he came on my podcast and he talked about being a pastor, going through divorce and all that he went through, almost lost everything. And people don't realize people that's called by God to spread His word, to preach His word. They go through things too, and you
if
think,
not worse.
Yeah, and you think, well, oh man, that's the one. God chose him to bring the word. I know he ain't got no problems, or she. You know what I'm saying? But little do they know,
you have more
behind them closed doors, they on their knees praying and ask God and wondering, God, is this really for me? You know what I'm saying? And so it's a really incredible journey that me and you have been on, and I thank God for our relationship.
Oh, definitely, it's all God.
It's definitely been strong. And all the support that you have gave Real Records and Kelvis podcast. Hey, I'm looking for a venue. Okay, I'm gonna sing you this and I'm gonna sing you that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thankful and just what God has done in your life. Really,
well, I thank you.
Come on your podcast and just sit down with you and just have a conversation, because that's what it's about.
Listen, and I got to get back on yours too. It's all about collaboration. Definitely.
Matter of fact, I was just telling Vic, we remodeling in the studio all next week. RJ has had the whole place repainted. A lot of new furniture being ordered, and we're gonna set up where we can have 4 people, kind of like what you got here. We can have 4 people because we got somebody that wants to come in and co-host with me. Okay. And we're gonna bring a female on board. And so we just had the funny thing, we just had a podcast, Coach D, called Coach Don. He used to be the coach for the Fayetteville Stingers. Okay. And and he had one of his young players that had played professional basketball around the world, playing different leagues, different countries. Okay. 6'8", big, tall, young man. And it's probably the longest podcast that I've done. Okay. And just to be honest, and just to share my testimony with this, it was an opportunity that God was in the midst of. Okay. It was 4 men, young, RJ probably the next one, then me and Coach Don right there around the same age. This young man, when we got to talking about relationships and just life and just sharing, God was in the midst of that, because what happens is, and I think Tyrese said it best, black men cry. Men cry, period. Right. There's nothing wrong with men being vulnerable. We've been taught the blueprint. As I said before, like me, when I wasn't brought up to share situation. If boys cry, I'd be like, stop that crying. Boys don't cry. Right. Girls were fine. And so once you got that blueprint in you, it takes you years to reform yourself into the thing that you need. You can be vulnerable with the right person. Right. People take your vulnerability and use it as a weapon. Yeah. And so we it really was a chance that God gave us to just be vulnerable as men and talk to these young men, pour into his life, and the things were said on that podcast were very powerful. And I think, and it's been the longest one we did. That podcast was like 2.5 hours long. Wow. It didn't seem like, because the knowledge that we dropped and the nuggets we dropped in that young man's life, he's like, man, he almost cried because he had the opportunity to open up, because we opened up and shared with him. Right. You know what I'm saying? We allowed ourselves to be vulnerable so he can see that he can be vulnerable with us. Right. And I think that's a tremendous thing. We need to see more of that, especially as black men. Open up and be honest about the things we've been through and share, because we don't know our honesty and our trials and tribulation may bless someone else, and that's what they did that night. That young man, he hugged us, and I mean, off camera, he cried. You know what I'm saying? Because he was going through stuff in his life, personal life. Him and Coach Don is a real tight relationship, because he's been his coach for a long time and mentor. But I mean, us just opening up about our previous marriages and failures and just life period. Gave him the cheat sheet. Because he been through some things. Oh yeah, of course. But he felt like he had to keep it bottled in, because he felt like, well, I'm 6'8", I'm this big 6'8" dude. People look at me being tough. I'm aggressive on the court. I'm a big, powerful man. He's allowed to let it out. God broke him down like a shot. And it's funny, because I like to tell people, you just never know what people are praying for. Yeah. And then that's how I love when God works like that. When you pray straight to God, and a complete stranger or somebody you ain't said nothing to, and they sit there and answer just what you pray to God, you know it's God. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, I guarantee you, if y'all was I guarantee you, like, I just prayed for God to give me sense, and I'll be darn off y'all answer every question. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how we went versus God way and our way, how that works. That's how me, myself, I always straight him, and then I allow God to show up that way versus me going spraying Sam to somebody, and then no, because it's one of him, and can't nobody do it like him. Right.
and stuff. But once again, you know, like I said,
we ain't through yet because I got a question for you.
Okay.
Let me try to close this podcast out. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting my 30 minutes of shine on your podcast.
Okay,
so I got a question for you. Even before you got engaged, even before this relationship God has blessed you with, I've asked you this question on my podcast, what unconditional love means to you. So at this point in your life right now, where you at? Do your love have conditions?
No.
So your love don't got no conditions attached to it? Really?
It's unlimited.
So have your love ever had conditions attached to it?
Well, you know, like
we're gonna go real reckless for a minute now.
We're not gonna go real reckless now. You know,
I'm gonna put my glasses back on. I'm trying to find out something.
But you know, with the old, you know, like I said, the old me is no longer. You know, I hate to say it that way, you know, because I was the only girl, you know what I'm saying? So you got to remember about me being the only girl, all of them brothers and my dad, I got ways, you know, I had ways like men. Yeah. So with that being said, I was cold-hearted.
Right.
So that's the old me, y'all. I was cold-hearted.
That was the old, y'all. She's a new creature now.
Very much. Yes, you better know God has came in and cleaned me up in a way that, honey, baby, my husband got the best part of me.
Hey, I already know.
At the end of the day, like, I was so cold-hearted. Like, I really didn't care.
Right.
I really didn't. It's
so
like almost like I didn't have feelings.
Your love did have condition.
It did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, like I said, I did.
But now now your love have no condition attached to it.
No.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit. No.
We're gonna talk about it online then.
And hey, on your podcast we can. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know,
we're gonna talk about when the cameras go off. We're gonna talk a little. So what? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Then. You know, do you take responsibility for your actions?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I definitely. Now I do.
Yeah, now you do.
Before it was my way or no way. Right. Yeah, like straight like that. Okay. Yeah, but now I definitely do. Like I said, you know, God, and that's one thing I always say to when people like, well, it's my change. When I say, if I can change, listen.
Anybody can change, huh?
Anybody can change.
I know that's right.
I dare you to go talk to God. Okay. I was so serious, you hear me? In a good way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But when I learned how to use my gift. Right. You know, and that's what really, you know, helped a lot because I was using it the wrong way. It was like, because I just knew. I knew. You be talking to me long enough, but I already know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So when I knew how to steer my gift the right way, it was like, okay, God, I get it now. Yeah. Let me stop abusing my gift and do what I'm supposed to do with it. And I mean, like I said, but He's changed me in so many. My appetite. We talk about appetites. You know, it's. I don't have the same. I just don't see the thing the same way. I don't have the same desires. It's just so different. I mean,
and it feels so good to you, don't it?
Definitely. Like, oh my God, dude. And I mean, I was a person, I get bored real fast. Yeah. And now it's like, I can't wait to see it.
I see the glow. Y'all see the glow. I see God shining through you.
Listen, God is doing some things, honey. Listen. And it's not to say that, you know, ain't nothing perfect, but we perfect for each other. Me and my husband perfect for each other, point blank. You know, so at the end of the day, it's what you're willing to fight for. Yeah. And like I said, people saying, if the good outweigh the bad, hang in there. If the bad outweigh the good, move on. Right. Why is you wasting time? Right. One thing you can't do is redo is the past. That's but you just take the present and the future, you can go ahead. But that past, you might as well just let it go. Because you can't redo it. Right. You can't go back in time. Okay? No. So, but God is good. Amen. God is good. Change is good. Amen. When you're willing to open for it. Right. But you gotta be open for it. Yeah. Other than that, can't nobody change you. You know what I'm saying, until you really open for it. So until then, Yeah. Like I said, I'm excited. Every day is a new day for me.
Well, I know that's right. That's my girl. Look, $5 all, y'all.
Listen, switch a little bias. But look, I thank God for you, and I thank you for coming on. And I definitely will have you back. And like I said, everybody waiting for that Real Reckless and everything else, and everybody can't wait.
And the new book,
definitely
coming next month. Y'all can get it at all your major bookstores.
You doing a book signing, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going on tour. Matter of fact, I'll be in DC the second week of September. Okay, I'll be on 98.8 The Beat in DC. Okay,
congratulations. So, I'm just glad to be connected. Hey, listen.
If we connect together, we
all right.
We win.
You better know it.
We win.
You better know it. Thank y'all for coming on here. Like I always say, I love you, but God loves you more. You just never know who I might have on here. Till next time.